For those of you who don't know me, I'm Greg Humans, Karen Kirschowitz, and I will be your moderators this evening, with some help from Chris Oswald and Brian as well. So I appreciate the help on that, and we have some oversight from Blue in reference to the process for this particular event. First of all, I'd like to welcome the residents of Montrose who've chosen to attend this event tonight rather than the national forum. I know that's going on tonight as well, and we thank you very much for choosing to be here. I believe it's very important to think globally or think nationally, but act locally. Let me remind you that due to COVID-19, by state mandate, you must wear a mask whenever you are in close proximity with others here tonight who are not members of your immediate family or your immediate household. Once you are seated, you may remove your mask as seating has been socially distanced. You must wear a mask if you are mingling or if you're up and standing and walking about. So those of you who are seated, you can remove your mask. We'll take about a 10-minute break at the top of the hour at about 7:50. And then we'll allow for mingling with the candidates probably from about 9 to 9:30, give or take. Verbal questions from the audience will not be allowed. If you want to have, citizens will be able to ask questions directly from candidates only during that mingling session. So if you have pointed questions for individual candidates, please do that at that time. We have several questions submitted online from Montrose citizens, which we have consolidated and grouped by topic. The questions have not been disclosed to the candidates. We will continue to take written questions from the audience throughout the event, although we may not get to all of your questions. Questions should be able to be answered by all of the candidates and not pointed to one individual candidate. Please put on your mask and bring your written questions up to the table here, and we'll collect them and let you know if they've been already included in the mix. Most of us have seen the last presidential election, which in my opinion was quite a spectacle. I don't have other words for it. We can do better here. We ask everyone here to be respectful of each other and the candidates tonight, and those who do not abide by those rules will be asked to leave. This is not a debate. Candidates are expected to address their answers to the audience and not to other candidates. You will be able to see how much time you have remaining down here, as I've explained earlier, and you'll have 1 or 2 minute sections depending upon the question and the complexity of the question to be able to answer. Candidates are expected to answer that question first, and then if there's additional time remaining, they may choose to address or revisit other issues with the time they have remaining. Please speak directly into the microphone so that everyone can hear your response. If the audience cannot hear them, shoot a hand up or an ear up and let me know. Let me introduce the candidates and we'll get started. First I have Kirby Moya, candidate for mayor. Michelle Otto, candidate for mayor, incumbent. Lloyd Johnson, candidate for mayor, declined to attend either in person, virtually by Zoom or MS Teams or by phone, citing COVID concerns and being out of town. Nicole Andrioff. Did I get that right, Nicole?
Pretty close.
Okay. Pardon?
Pretty close.
Correct me, I don't mind being correct.
No, it's Andrioff. But
Andrioff and Sam Solars, both candidate for city council, and Nicole is an incumbent. Roy Henry, also candidate for council, declined to attend in person due to COVID concerns and does not have a virtual capability and did not respond to several attempts to get him included by phone. With that, please briefly, for the candidates, you'll have 1 minute for this. Please briefly tell us about yourself and why you feel you are the best candidate for mayor or city council. And we'll start with Kirby.
Kirby Moya, 28, I've lived in Montrose for most of my life. I've been on the city council the last 2 years. I think I'm the best candidate for mayor because over the next 10 years, I believe Montrose is going to have a substantial amount of growth, and we need leadership as an entire council that wants to bring in more residential homes that will eventually bring in more businesses. The only way we get more businesses into town is by having more rooftops for those businesses to be able to have sustainable clients. Being on the city council, I've been a part of the EDA, fill in for Chamber of Commerce, the Fire Department Liaison, and the Finance Committee.
Michelle?
Michelle Otto, I've been resident of Montrose basically my whole life. I have been on the city council for first 4 years as council member and then the last 4 years as the mayor. I feel I am the best candidate for this position because of the experience that I have, the knowledge that I bring and the community involvement that I've given to the city. Kirby's right, we need to bring in, we've brought in a lot of residential homes. Lately, we filled up 2 of our developments, Forest Creek Development and Whitetail Ridge, to bring up our rooftops. But we are helping with the EDA is getting more intact, so, and really pushing hard to bring in new businesses.
Nicole?
My name is Nicole Andrioff. I have lived in Montrose, well, moved back to Montrose, I should say, about 3.5 years ago. When I moved back here, I kind of just wanted to be able to do something for my city with my city. So I applied 2 years ago to be city council. Missed it by a little bit, but after that I joined Montrose Days and I really feel like I still wanted to be part of the city, so I still pursued it. Was lucky enough to be appointed city council back earlier this year, which I'm learning a lot. I'm still very new, but I still feel like a nice fresh set of eyes and ears is what the city needs. And I firmly believe with some more, give or take, some training and learning, I'm going to get the buzzer, aren't I? That I would be good for the city. Just give me some time. Okay, minute 2.
And Sam?
Sam Solars, 45 years old. I've been in Montrose now for 4 years. I live here with my wife Robin and my daughter Isabella. My main purpose for running for council is to give back to the city. We moved from Brooklyn Park, which is, you may or may not know, is a little rough area, but moving out here, I feel like we finally have a home. I would like to continue to grow Montrose in a positive way. I'd like to take on your values as we continue to grow Montrose. I think that's why I would make a really good candidate.
Yes, please do.
I'm Karen Kirkowitz, and I moved here just almost a year ago. My husband and I moved from Burnsville, and we love living out here, and we really are hopeful that this town continues to grow and improve and give other people a lot of happiness while they live here. Your first topic is under qualifications, education, training, experience. You get 1 minute to answer this one. Managing and providing direction for a city requires a strong understanding of the financial, economic, growth strategies, infrastructure, zoning, public safety, and regulatory or statutory requirements impacting the city. What education, background, experience, or training, including League of Minnesota Cities training, do you have that uniquely qualifies you for serving as mayor or on the city council?
Michelle?
Thanks, Craig. As mentioned, I had been on the city council for 4 years and the mayor for the last 4 years. I've taken many trainings through the League of Minnesota Cities. Can you repeat the question?
What education, background, experience, or training?
I guess, sorry.
Including League of Minnesota Cities, do you have that uniquely qualifies you for serving as mayor or the city council?
I just think it's a lot of my experience comes from hands-on knowledge too. As mentioned before, when we come on board, you know, we're all new to this and just getting involved within the city, everything. It's, you know, there's a lot of great things through the webs, but it's also just learning from staff. A lot of education comes from them, working with the different city, you know, our different council members. I just bring a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to the city here in council.
Nicole?
Like I stated before, I'm still very much new, but I was lucky enough when I got appointed back in January to be able to attend Illegal Minnesota's council, newly elected council, thank you, up in Brainerd. I'll have my wits about me. Which was, I found very informational. I enjoyed my time up there. I'm looking forward to doing more of those because it was informational. And I think I said this 2 years. They were doing stuff about like with team building and whatever not to help with better communication skills within your council, which I still firmly believe needs to be done, and I hope that can happen, and I hope I can be a part of that. So I still have very much a lot to learn. I don't have much of a background, but I'm willing to put in the time.
Sam?
Well, as far as experience goes, I really don't have any. This is my second run at running for the council here. I haven't had the privilege to serve you yet. What I do have is a lot of team building background, which I think will help in kind of being a cohesive unit between the council and the city and the mayor. I've been working for Edina Realty for 8 years now, and I manage a team of 5 people. So I've got kind of the team building deal down, and I know how to work the grounds.
Kirby?
So I've been in the city council for the last 2 years. Before that, I had been previously a part of Park and Rec, student liaison to the city council somewhere around 7 to 10 years ago. In college, that I didn't finish my degree, but it's almost done. I was on the student senate. It was part of making the big decisions for the campus that I was at. Since being on the city council, I've been on the finance committee, the liaison to fire department, EDA. I think one of my biggest assets I have is that I know how to do a budget on my own. I mean, for 8 years I was a single parent, full custody, and had to do it all pretty much on my own. And I mean, I had help from family, but budgeting is really tough for one person just kind of all of a sudden pick it up one day and figure out how to do it. So I think that's my big thing.
Your next question, the topic is vision statement, future view for Montrose. 1 minute to answer this question. When leading through change, it is important for leaders to establish a clear understanding of the vision, mission, and purpose for the organization in order to secure commitment and engagement of others in the change process. What is your vision statement for the city of Montrose? And what major goals or objectives will you implement in order to achieve your vision?
Nicole?
That was a long question. Okay. I'll try to answer that. I think my goal when I decided that I wanted to run for city council was to be here for the city, to improve the city in any way that I possibly can. It might not be much, but some way. I would still like to bring, this is probably a very obvious question, more businesses to the city. Obviously with rooftops, it's a little iffy with what size our city is, but I still would very much like to be able to be a part of coming up with some plans as a team, as a council, to be able to do that. I really don't have much more on that, and I honestly don't remember the entire question.
Sam?
Well, I think my vision is obviously we're getting a lot more rooftops here. We've got Forest Creek that's built up completely. White Ridge is built up completely. We've got 2 other lots that are recently gone up for sale. We're going to get more residents in here, and I think we need to worry about some infrastructure and some businesses to maintain that going forward. So that's kind of my vision here, is to help maintain and culture and grow this community with the rooftops coming in. I'd like to support some small businesses coming in too. We're not going to get major chains coming in here. I think small business could be the backbone of Montrose.
Kirby?
My vision is that, our residential will still keep being built up. Obviously, I don't want a huge amount of houses. I don't want to be a Buffalo where you're 15, 20,000 people. I don't think that's ever realistic for Montrose, nor would I want that. I think everybody kind of agrees we love that small town type of feel you get when you're here. You can go 30 seconds out of town and all of a sudden there's not a house for half a mile. But we do need more residentials for more businesses to come into town. And by doing more businesses coming into town, the taxes will get lowered. If you want your taxes to get lowered from the city, you need more residential homes and more businesses. And, our taxes in the city have been going down the last 3 years. The big spike you see is because of the county and the school district, but the city is doing a good job. The city staff do a great job of keeping the budget in check and the taxes down.
Michelle?
My vision for the city is to continue helping the city to grow. As I mentioned earlier, our developments, our newest is Forest Creek and Whitetail Ridge, which are full, but we still need to have that room to bring in businesses. The vision, it's all about keeping in the community. A lot of you probably see that I do a lot of social media stuff. I'm all about community involvement, getting everybody to come out, help with different events that we have. Just bringing in small town. We want to grow, but we still want to have that small town feeling. And the infrastructure, we as city staff is doing a great job in keeping in our budget to get infrastructure going and keeping on task with that. But for me, it's all about community involvement.
Hi, I'm Christina Oswald from Montrose Days Committee. Your next topic is vision statement, positive change, and you'll have 2 minutes to answer this question. We have seen election signs posted by Montrose candidates indicating the candidate intends to bring positive change or new direction. Yet nearly all the candidates are incumbents or have served on the city council previously, several for many years. If elected, what are 2 or 3 positive changes you will implement, and why do you feel they are necessary?
We'll start with Sam.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, I think the first change is that I still feel this, that I feel like the citizens of Montrose aren't being heard by staff or the city in general. I think, we really need to sit down and really understand what the city wants, what the city needs. I know there's, a lot of talk about, God forbid, snow plowing. That seems to be a hot topic every winter. And I think there's a lot of times that citizens just feel like they're getting pushed back from their city, and they want to be heard. I mean, they want to change, but again, everything just seems to be stifled at some kind of level. I don't know what it is, but I'd like to figure it out. And again, I'm going to be working for you. I live here too. I want to be part of this community more than just as much as anybody else here. That's kind of the way I would look at it.
Sam, I had to reset the clock to get 2 minutes on there, so.
Well, that felt like 30 minutes. So.
It wasn't long. You were right in there, about 1 minute and 15. Okay, Kirby.
Could you repeat at least the first part of the question?
If elected, what are 2 or 3 positive changes you will implement, and why do you feel they are necessary?
One of the biggest things that bothers me, and this will kind of be a long-winded answer, is a lot of the negative talk about Montrose. And I think a lot of that has to do with, some of our city council meetings can get a little off the rails. They can get a little uncivil sometimes. And it's not any one person. It's kind of a group thing that can kind of derail some of the meetings. I think it starts there. I think that'd be one thing that kind of needs to change it, no matter who the mayor is, whether it's Michelle or I or Lloyd. But I know Michelle or I we're 100%, they're going to take control of the meetings. We're not going to have these uncivil arguments where people are yelling at each other or challenging someone to a fight or swearing, any of this stuff. It's about treating each other how you want to be treated. And that's a big thing that I'll do, is that I'm going to treat everybody how I want to be treated. If I have to take phone calls at, 2 in the morning when I'm at work and people are, yelling and swearing, that's fine. I'd rather not. If you want to be civil with me, I'll be civil with you. I'm not going to yell and scream at you. And I think that's really the biggest thing, is it starts from the top down of the city council. If we handle things better as a group of adults, I think that'll change a lot of the stuff throughout the city. I work at a residential group home. If I could control 10 to 12 teenage boys, I think I could control 4 or 5 adults that can't always get along.
And time. Michelle?
One of the things I think is we need to get our community more involved in a lot of the things that we do. We're struggling. We're struggling for volunteers, we're struggling for everything. And so it was brought up, to do like an informal town hall kind of a meeting. People don't want to come and talk to the city council. They want to just be a little less informal. So I've already put it out there to kind of try and do that. As Kirby had mentioned, we need to be available. I do get them phone calls at 2 in the morning, 5 in the morning, whatever time it is, and we just need to be available and show that the community that we are transparent in everything that we have. I try to put it out there, what's going on within the city, how things are going. I think it's really important to have more community residential feedback so that we as a council know what you guys want. When we're sitting here, 5 people, it's really tough to make the decisions for 3,000 people. So I believe it's, we need to hear from you guys. Whether it's an email, a phone call, or Facebook, whatever, we have to start paying attention to that, so.
Nicole?
I guess first things first, I've said it before and I'll say it again. One of the reasons why we ran for council was to have maybe a better communication within the council, to work better as a team, to be able to help the citizens of Montrose and work with the citizens of Montrose. That's still something I'm very passionate about. Kind of rolling off what Michelle said would be my other topic, is being able to get the citizens more involved in the cities and what we're doing. For example, I'm on Montrose Days. Right now, we're struggling. We need those people in town to be able to join us, help us, and come together and be able to keep those little things like Montrose Days, which isn't a little thing, it's a big thing, but we're a little town and we don't really have much. So being able to keep stuff like that around, I think, is huge. And if I can be a part of keeping or in helping everybody get together or volunteer, I still very much would like to do that. But yeah, that's clear.
All right, next topic is council and city operations. You'll have 2 minutes to answer the question. In the past, Montrose City Council has been described by other city leaders as divisive or dysfunctional. Also, at times, the relationship between city council and city staff and employees have been described as adversarial. What specific actions will you take to create unity of purpose? Let me start over. What specific actions will you take to create unity of purpose for the city council and to develop a cohesive and effective working relationship between city council and city staff?
My fault, Chris, I wrote that one. And we're going to start with Kirby.
So, getting back to the point that I made earlier, a big part of that, of the council dysfunction is taking control of when the meetings start to derail. When people start yelling at each other and it's no longer a civil discussion between adults, it turns into a bickering match between 5-year-olds. We shouldn't have that, and, we shouldn't need a mayor to control that, but if you do, that's something that I can manage to do. Like I said, I work at a residential group home facility. If I can control teenage boys, I think I control a few adults that can't get along. I think the city staff and the council have gotten along pretty well, I think, the last few years. I think if there's any kind of division or animosity between city staff and council, it's manufactured by individual council members that create problems. As mayor and as council, I have been and will be, available for the city staff if they need something, if they have some situation they need to talk about throughout the day, that's something that had bothered them, or a belligerent resident or a council member. I want to be there for them to be able to talk through some of that stuff. I also can be the person that sits them down and says, you know what, you didn't handle this very well either. You got to work on how you're presenting yourself to the public, or how you're handling these belligerent calls from residents. It's a lot about just kind of managing the council, the adults, and managing the staff, and I think working together is possible, and I think I'll be good to work with the city staff.
Michelle.
The last 4 years that I've been the mayor, I feel that our council meetings have become a lot more friendlier, relaxed maybe. We can actually sit up here and joke with each other, before the meetings, during the meetings. So I think we have grown within the last couple of years. Is that part of my 2 minutes? No, I'm just kidding. It's just...
Hold on,
It's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you think that was loud? You should hear in my hearing aid.
I bet. But see, that's just it. We just got to take it the way it is. When I first became a council member, you're right. There was some hostility. There was a lot of things that went on, and the last 4 years, I think we've grown. With city staff, the same thing. I've come in and, we have to deal with some stuff that we're not really comfortable dealing with. And city staff has called me out on it. And that's okay, because, every day we got to learn, and every day, it's always different. There's things that we do as council members that, we have to learn from. If we're not learning something every day, then we've got a problem. So, but, the last couple of years, I really do feel we've come a long way in, getting more transparent with the residents. And just, we can't always take things so seriously. We have to also be able to have fun. And I think with the group that we have, we've been able to do that, so.
Nicole.
I said it earlier, I think that the council, yes, it has come a long way. Could it still use some perks? Absolutely. team building, apparently Sam is good at this, so maybe he's the man I should talk to. But definitely having some type of connection with the council where there isn't so much bickering or arguing, especially if it comes to situations with the city staff or whatnot, or whatever, what have you. But I'm kind of the person, and I've always been this way, and I will continue to probably be this way, that if there's a situation that arises, I don't necessarily take that situation to heart. I will try to figure out what's going on instead of just believing what was said. And there's always two sides to one story, and everybody's human. I think that as long as there's good, open communication with what is happening, there's a lot that can conspire from that and grow. So I think that there's some work to be done. I might not have all the answers for how that's going to get done yet, but I'm more than willing to try to figure that out.
Don't worry, you got time. It's okay. Tell Nicole's a clock watcher. It's good. All right, Sam.
I just don't want that horn.
Nobody wants the horn.
That's the scare factor.
Yeah, I don't want Tom's phone either, so.
Both of them are extremely intimidating.
Go ahead, Sam.
All right, so I think the biggest thing is respect. You know, I think it's respect for the position, respect for what we're voted in to do. I think, you know, being able to work through everyone's differences, because everyone here has a different opinion on everything. And I think, you know, the ability to work through those and, you know, kind of become a cohesive unit is, you know, really the way that it needs to be. Again, you guys elected us, or will elect us, to handle what's going on in the city. I mean, sometimes it's gotten a little out of control. I've watched the videos, I've seen it. You know, and it can be disgraceful. I mean, it's obviously it's made its way to other cities, you know, and it's all about respect. Respect for the position and respect for what you're here to do. That's all I got.
According to taxrates.org, Wright County has some of the highest median property taxes in the United States, and roughly 0.94% of the assessed market value for property. As an example, since 2016, my home in Montrose, Wright County taxes have increased 46%, and school taxes have increased 51%, with most of that over the past 2 years. Given that families have been financially impacted by COVID-19, what actions can you take to support and represent the interest of Montrose taxpayers with Wright County and the local school board? Michelle.
I believe that working with the school board is very important. You know, we just had the tax increase last year through them. I kept very on top of what was going on with the school board members, keeping in line with their budgets, the same thing with the county commissioners. You know, that's a lot of things that we do quarterly. We meet with all of them, we keep in line, you know, keep in touch with what's going on. With the city, we've maintained really well with the city, and with COVID, you know, we're going to be here to help everybody that, you know, to the best extent that we can. The schools, we got county commissioners coming up, school board member here, so, you know, it's really important just to keep in communication with all of them. I've joined the different commissions through the county just so that I can learn from all of that, you know, where their budgets are, getting more in depth with what's going on, you know, understanding the school board. The school board is the big one, you know, well, the county just passed the big one too, I guess, but, you know, and that was tough because I went to the big hike that the county just did, you know, the tactical center, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but it was needed, and that money is going to come back to us because we will be letting other facilities use that. It's going to help with our officers that, you know, the officers that are going to be able to use that facility and not have to go and disperse it out to other counties, giving them money. It's all going to stay within our area. So
Nicole?
I think to answer part of that question, I do believe with the school levy, obviously, that happened, that did raise some taxes. I still, believe with Montrose and the size that Montrose is, I don't think our taxes are that crazy for our town. Obviously, since I bought my house, my taxes have gone up a little bit here and there, but I think that at a city level, I mean, we can try to do what we can. Like I said, being new to this, I'm still trying to baby deer my way through here and figure out taxes and the budget and all that stuff myself. But I think that's definitely maybe a question for the county commissioners, I would think, on how we can do that as a county and drop our taxes. But I mean, with anything, I think their taxes are going to go up, they're going to go down when it comes to any town, regardless, because of people, businesses, and whatnot. But yeah. Sorry about that.
Sam?
So, I mean, city taxes, for what I've noticed, have been either on the decline or fairly steady. I think the big ones would be the school board and what's happening with Wright County in general. I think just having an open line of communication with the school board and Wright County will help kind of alleviate any further tax bombs that we've had. But I think as far as the city goes, I think we're handling that fairly well. And I think that will get lower, the more houses we bring in too. So I think just an open line of communication with the school board and Wright County.
Kirby?
Well, everybody has said it. The city taxes have gone down the last 2 years, small percentages, but this next year it's going to go down somewhere around 2.73%. That's just city taxes. And to keep driving those down, we need more residential homes to spread the tax burden out, which will bring in more businesses. Businesses pay the majority of the taxes. They pay a much higher percentage than residential does. So if you want to lower taxes in town, it's bringing more businesses, whether that's grocery stores, mom and pop stores, manufacturing, whatever we can get to town. I'm in favor of bringing businesses into town. And we need more of it. We need more jobs local. We need a bigger tax base. That'll keep bringing the city's taxes down. As far as the county and the school board, I think open line of communication is great with them. We need council members that can have good relationships with not just your county commissioners, the school board members, but also your local state reps. They can fight for your taxes to go down at the state level as well. The county, however, they never lower their taxes. They bring it up to here. They don't ever say, we don't need that money anymore, and we drop it down. They leave it right here no matter what. And that's something I think that needs to change for whoever our new county commissioner is going to be in this area. I know Charlie Burrell's done a great job the last several years of fighting to try to keep taxes down, and is often outvoted when it comes to increases in taxes, and he's usually against it. We need to elect people for county commissioner and school boards and city council that want to be and can be fiscally responsible to try to keep taxes down. Nobody wants to see an increase, because just because we're asking for more money doesn't mean you're going to get more money from your job.
Since 2016, the city final tax levy has increased $381,253 over 4 years on a city budget of roughly $4.4 million, with increases in the levy of approximately 10% in 2017, 2018, and 2019, and 5.9% in 2020, an increase of 40% over the past 4 years in the tax levy. Most of that has been offset by roughly a 25% increase in the tax capacity for Montrose, yet families who saw an increase in their assessed value still saw a tax increase. The tax levy proposed for 2021 is a 5.97% increase. If elected, What specific actions will you take to reduce the property tax burden for Montrose residents? And we'll start with Nicole.
There's a lot of numbers you just threw at me.
I did research.
Very. I mean, I guess really all I could say to that, because with what you, I got about half of that, is that obviously with bringing in more businesses, that will help with taxes, but I honestly, I missed half that question.
What will you do to reduce the tax burden on the citizens of Montrose?
I guess looking through the budget maybe and seeing what can be helped with that. That is a really hard question for me to answer. I'm still very, like I said, I'm still very new. I'm still trying to figure my way out here, so I don't really have a great answer for that right now, but I will figure it out.
Sam?
So I think just, obviously, more rooftops. I mean, we bring in, more residents into this town, it's gonna spread out that tax burden even further. We've got, 2 pretty big lots that are for sale right now that could put a lot of rooftops in here and kind of spread that tax burden out more. The more rooftops we bring into here, the more chances we increase for businesses too, which is also gonna help in the long run lower that tax burden on the citizens of Montrose.
Kirby?
So the first part of your question, if I remember correctly, was about how we've increased our budget, but the city taxes have gone down. And a big part of that is that more residential coming into town. If we want to keep doing that, that's what we need. If we want to keep lowering the taxes, we need more homes, which will bring in more businesses. If your property value is going up, it's because the county now, the city is working through the county to have your property assessments done. If you feel that your home was not properly valued at its last assessment, all you have to do is contact the county assessor's office and they can come out and reevaluate it. I had recently learned that they don't even come and necessarily look at every house. They just base it off of the average of the houses around you and if you pulled a permit at all. Whether it's a fence permit, a building permit within your house. So they, without even looking at it, they will just take a guesstimate and then say, well, we're going to increase their value that much. So even though the city taxes have been going down in the last several years, some people, if they've had increases in their property value, they'll see more that they'll give to the city. Not a lot more, but some more. The big thing is working with the EDA. And over the last 2 years, our EDA has kind of been revamped. And a big part of that has been due to Tom's leadership at the head of the EDA, where he's worked with Shannon Sweeney, who the city contracted to kind of get the council out of the involvement of it. It used to be all 5 council members were part of the EDA, which is the Economic Development Authority. And now it's just 2 council members, myself and Tom, and 3 business owners. If we want to get more business in the town, we need to keep doing that, keep changing, keep learning as a city to try to bring in not just more residential, but more businesses as well.
Time. Michelle?
One way to bring it was talked about talking with your auditors, your county assessors and all that kind of stuff. I've recently been in contact, emailing back and forth with, I believe his name is Jordan, I'm terrible at names, so as to how they go about assessing each property owner. And you're right, they don't go into your homes, they just kind of look at each one and take an average and go that way. So been in contact as to how we can be, more accurate, because not every home is the same. So one person could be paying way higher than the next, and it all has to come back down equally. And then it comes down to being fiscally responsible. If you go back and watch the council meetings, you'll notice that I ask Wendy a lot of questions. I what did we spend this for? What was this for? You know, keeping an eye on our budget to keep things intact. You know, we have great city staff that, you know, they budget quite well for us, and, you know, anytime we have questions or concerns, we can always reach out to them. And it's just keeping in contact with our auditors, and, you know, we've worked really hard to maintain that we have not really raised our taxes. Everything has basically come from city and school board. So we just have to continue to be fiscally responsible.
So this question is economic development and growth, business, jobs, residential. 2 minutes to answer this question. Montrose is very much a bedroom community. Creating local jobs and local shopping opportunities certainly improves the socio-economic viability of the city overall. What plans do you have to attract economic development, support smart planning and zoning, and reinvigorate stalled or vacant properties within the city?
Sam,
Thanks.
welcome.
Yeah, I think it goes back to working with developers to bring in more rooftops. More rooftops is going to bring us more businesses. I think it's really only one way to slice it here. We got to get more people in here. I mean, the town has grown. I think population-wise in the past 10 years, I think it's like 117%. The population has grown. That's just off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But, you know, there is growth here, and there are people that are obviously building out here. I built a house out here. I live in Forest Creek, and that development shot up in 4 years like it was just going out of style. You know, we've got another development that LGI is putting together. I'm not quite sure if they're completely full yet. I would imagine they're getting pretty close. You know, and then we've got the 2 new developments that went for sale, and then over at the other side of 12 there, I can't
Preserves.
the preserves too. So I mean, there's opportunity to bring in more people in here to, again, kind of draw those businesses in here.
Kirby.
I think a big thing is to work with not just our EDA in town, but also with the Wright County EDA. And Deb and Tom have made a very big effort in the last year to build a relationship with the Wright County EDA. The new head of the Wright County EDA, she has helped another town bring an Aldi's in. And so next year, our EDA budget has money set aside to travel to not just their Minnesota headquarters in Faribault, but also down to Illinois to their national headquarters to try to get an Aldi's here. You know, that's a big thing that Tom has taken on his plate to try to push for. I think it'd be great here. They have requirements, you know, such as traffic control and daily traffic that has to come through. But I think that if we, with these developments that are just finishing up and the potential of selling the preserve and having more houses being built in the next several years, I think that that'll be a good enticement to try to bring something like an Aldi's into town. I also think that we need some sort of, you know, food restaurant as well, some sort of fast food place. I don't want a McDonald's or a Subway. Everybody's got one of those. But something, and you know, a big part of the next 10 years is going to be pushing to get businesses like that here. I've had conversations with a friend of mine who is the head of marketing for Raising Cane's Chicken, and he's told me flat out that they won't look at Montrose. They look at Delano or Buffalo. And I sat him down and I was like, you guys need to stop doing this. As businesses, stop looking for Buffalo and Delano. Come here. There's nothing from Delano to Cokato. Come here, you're going to have the business that you need. We're going to keep you going. Just come here.
Time. Michelle.
Working with the EDA, as mentioned before, our EDA was struggling. It was council members and, city staff. We did have a few businesses in town, but we were struggling, and in the last 2 years, it has come a long way. I asked Tom to be a big part of that, and he's really taken the lead on that. So it's working with those guys. You mentioned businesses in town, the small businesses. My husband and myself, I don't know if he's gonna like that I'm saying this, but we did put an interest in the Red's Cafe here. We put in an offer twice because I don't want to see that business go. That business has been a part of this town for, it'd be 90 years. And I didn't want to see it go, but, that we put the offer out there and he rejected it, So I don't know what's going to go on there, we talk with staff, see if they've heard anything, and I keep in contact with, the bank, seeing what's going on with that building, because we do need something here, and I would love to see that open back up, if not myself, somebody else. Bringing in the coffee shop, just helping all the little small mom and pops. We don't necessarily need, the big chain. It would be nice, but we got to support what we have here too. So we got the preserves that are coming in, the Casey's building, we got to get those things filled up. That's all with working with our EDA. So, and just keeping open lines of communication.
Nicole?
I think we're kind of all on the same page with this answer to this question, is that obviously the EDA continuous work with that, but it's just kind of hard to get businesses in here with what rooftops we have, and they don't want to come here because they're so small, but yet, in order for us to grow, we kind of need that here. I'm all about supporting the local businesses, especially a coffee shop, because I'm a coffee person, so I've been there multiple times. But as long as we keep supporting our local businesses and knowing that as a town we're here for them and that we're going to continue doing that, I think is huge. It is just getting more businesses in here that is the problem. And yeah, work on that.
Okay, that concludes the first part. We'll take a 10-minute break.